All right. Well, folks, it's over. The NFL season's over. Now we get to answer the age-old question. Who will be pardoned on Bourbon Street? Find out on this episode of Doubleheader. All right. Hard, here we are, man. The season's over. Hard to believe.
Yeah, hard to believe indeed. You know, just like yesterday, it was week one of the NFL season, and 4.5, 5 months later, here we are figuring out who is going to be partying on Bourbon Street in the Big Easy of New Orleans, and I can't wait to dive deep into this episode today.
Me neither. People are in suspense, and the suspense is over. So your Super Bowl 59 champions are, remote please, Philadelphia Eagles. Way to go, Eagles.
Yeah, what a surprise indeed! I did not see this coming. And Amir, how about you?
I picked the Eagles to win. I just didn't expect it'd be a dominant performance by them, being the Super Bowl, hoping for a close game. But either way, Eagles won.
Uh, did not see that coming scoring wise. I thought it was going to be more competitive, uh, like in our predictions episode that we did about 2 weeks ago. And I mean, I got nothing else to say. And I see a little audio clip down below.
Yep, we'll get to the audio clip shortly, but we got to catch up to the winners. So Milton Williams, he had two sacks in the game, including that strip fumble of Pat Mahomes that really put the game out of reach. Saquon Barkley, what a turnaround. Going from the Giants to the Eagles, leading league in rushing, going over 2,000 yards. And at season's end, with the host of the Lombardi Trophy.
He came from New York, that being Saquon Barkley, and in just one season alone, he puts up fantastic numbers with Philadelphia, and now he's a Super Bowl champion. You gotta love that.
Oh, yeah. Yep, and there's more to come with that. Cooper DeJean scored his first NFL touchdown this past Sunday, and on his birthday, becoming the first player to ever score a touchdown in the Super Bowl on his birthday.
Hmm. How about that? And if, correct me if I'm wrong, it was a pick six.
That is correct.
Yep, that's really cool. What else you got?
Oh, I got another one. Zach Bond, and what a way to come back to New Orleans, play 4 years for the Saints, mostly on special teams. Comes to the Eagles, first year, leads the team in tackles, makes All Pro and a Pro Bowl honors in the Super Bowl. He makes an interception, and not only that, he even called it on the sideline as well.
Yep. So, congrats to him.
Oh, definitely, yeah, and Mort, definitely, and like I said, what a homecoming was for Mr. Bond. He used to play for the Saints, and also, excuse me, Josh Sweat, who probably, if they had, I'll say this, they should start having co-MVPs for the Super Bowl, one for defense, one for offense. If there was one, to be him because he had 2.5 sacks in the game.
And I think it was in two separate possessions where Mahomes got sacked two times in a row.
Yeah, keep in mind when they met 2 years ago, they didn't sack him once, and that was the Eagles defense that led the league in sacks going into that game. As for this Eagles defense, they led the NFL in scoring defense, and it showed up. And well, excuse me, it was on display in the Superdome this past Sunday.
Yep, that defense definitely showed up, and I totally forgot that the Eagles led the league in defense alone. So there's that.
Oh, definitely. And last but not least, and speaking of defense, Brandon Graham, this might be your last game in the NFL. If it is, what a way to go out as a champion.
Most definitely, he brought up a leadership to this team. You know, no one else could have, and man, I mean, it was. I mean, on paper, It looked like a defensive game, which it was, but the offense, with Jalen Hurts, I have something to say about that as well.
Well, we'll get to Jalen Hurts in a second, but these 6 men and the rest of the Eagles team, long time. Well, it's been 7 years in the making, but you get posted a Lombardi Trophy, and well, when you win the Lombardi Trophy, you get a special message from Bikini Bottom. Take it away, folks. Oh yeah. Now you're probably wondering, well, where is Coach Sirianni and Jalen Hurts, the MVP? Well, folks, in this next presentation, I like to call this one Redemption. These two men have gone through a lot. 2 years ago, they made the Super Bowl, very entertaining game, but they came up 3 points short. And the next year got to a very good start, 10-1, but the offense was putting up the numbers, but just couldn't put teams away. And far for their defense, only able to stop the opposing offense. And this man right here caught a lot of heat from the Eagles fans and the press. And even at the start of this season, he's got to a rocky start. And, and even when they won games, it still wasn't enough to get off the press. But now we fast forward to this past Sunday, and look where they are now. The pictures say it all, folks.
What a turnaround! What way to keep your head up, sure. In the span of 2 years, making it back like it's no problem, and with Nick Sirianni, getting that backlash all year long, especially this year on weekly pick. Now we didn't. That's why it was so hard to predict who was going to make it in the NFC, and I don't think I said anything NFC besides San Francisco, but for the AFC, we'll get to the AFC in a minute. I did have Kansas City making all the way back, and lo and behold, I was right. And as for the Eagles, what a turnaround!
Definitely, especially from Jalen Hurts. He had a good 2023 season, but unfortunately, his undoing and the Eagles' undoing was turnovers on offense. Had 15 interceptions. Though to cut down to 5. We did miss some time toward the end of the season due to concussion. Came back for the playoffs. Yeah, the numbers weren't eye popping, but the number one thing in the playoffs on offense is to protect the ball. And sure enough, he did, because throughout, look through his playoff stats until this past Sunday, only one interception. And when you don't turn the ball over, your team advances, especially to the big game.
Yep. So there's that. So I'm gonna read out the results from this past season. They started out 1-0 beating the Green Bay Packers. They lost against Atlanta 22-21. New Orleans, they won 15-12. They lost to Tampa Bay 33-16. Excuse me. And it was a bye week. In Cleveland, 20-16. Week 7 was 28-3. On to page 2, we have us being 37-17. Jacksonville, week 9, 28-23. A win against Dallas, 34-6. Washington, 26-18. Los Angeles Rams, 37-20, week 12. Baltimore, 24-19. Carolina, 22-16. Pittsburgh, 27-13. And a loss against Washington, week 16, 36-33. Dallas winning 47-7. And New York, 27-13. And I'll add on to the playoff scenarios versus Green Bay in the wild card, 22-10. Division, 28-12. Conference against Washington, who played in week 16. They won 55-23. And of course, Kansas City in the Super Bowl, 40-22.
Yep, got on. That is correct. And then speaking of Kansas City, or their last time they faced them in the big game, Jalen Hurts kept the screensaver of this image right here. When he got into the locker room, he said, we'll be back. And sure enough, 2 years later, Jalen, I think you have a few screensavers. This is a screensaver you want to keep forever. Holding up that Lombardi Trophy, the MVP trophy, and let's effing go award from the guy who called the game, Tom Brady. So it definitely took a lot of hardware just past Sunday in the Big Easy.
Yeah, Tom Brady's first game as a color commentator. Uh, I think he did pretty well. You know, I bet he was nervous going into it, but I like the fact that he had his own little MVP or Player of the Game award to the quarterback, or or for anyone for that matter, and it's a nice little touch.
No, definitely. And also for Jalen Hurts, his stats 17 for 22, 221, two touchdowns. It had the interception, but was inconsequential. Also had ran the ball 11 times, 72 yards, and scored on the classic Billy Tush push.
Really push what was commenced, and it was ran to perfection on one of those touchdowns earlier in the first half. So, just like how they drew it up.
Yep, and then as for the two touchdowns, hit A.J. Brown right for halftime after the Bond interception, and then following the fourth down stop in late in the third quarter, go for the kill, and sure enough, he did. Hooked up with his fellow teammate from Alabama, Devontae Smith, which personally put the game out of reach. And as I say that, keep in mind that he got benched in the title game a few years ago in Alabama, replaced by Tua Tagovailoa. And while he won that championship, excuse me, Jalen won one on his own, and well, double redemption for him because again, lost Super Bowl 2 years ago, got benched in the title game a few years back in Alabama, and now look where he is now. Lombardi Trophy, MVP trophy, left trophy.
What a what you just can't make that up, right? From being benched in college to almost getting to the most noble prize in all of sport to 2 years later, winning it all.
Definitely. And as from Coach Sirianni, who I touched on before, I mean, what can you say? 4 years with the Eagles makes the playoffs all 4 years. I mean, any fan base would take that, right?
Uh, yeah. Uh, I mean, what can you say? You made it to the ultimate game and was able to, capitalize, capitalize.
Oh yeah, and I know fans being in on him for his play calling or Moore's play calling, some in-game decisions. But you know what? In the Super Bowl or now, and yeah, I say he did a pretty good job. Didn't put his team in harm's way, and look where he is now. He's forever a Super Bowl champion. And I know that Gatorade dunk and that holding that Lombardi Trophy was, man, the cherry on top of a season full of adversity and triumph.
Yeah. And are you surprised that they did it, with very little time left in the game, or was it a good idea?
I was surprised they did it before the 2 minute warning. I was like, because they already showing they had the cameras fixed on the Eagles sideline, checking the Gatorade buckets, and like, it's a little early to do the Gatorade dunking. Sure enough, they dunked him. Like, well, okay, was not expecting that, but either way, it's tradition in the Super Bowl when you win it, get that traditional Gatorade bath.
Yeah. And, you know, it, I at least it took him a few minutes. They gave him a few minutes to dry off because it was before the 15-minute warning. Despite being sticky and soaked.
Yeah. And also, fun fact, he used to be in the Chiefs coaching staff, was way before Andy Reid got there, but he was their offensive quality coach from '09 to 2012.
Yep, I saw that on the broadcast, and I'm like, huh, what do you know? So
Yeah, coming full circle.
definitely.
So having said that, I named this slide Redemption. And when you get redemption, the Krusty Krab, take it away.
And not only you get two hip hip hooray, you get one hip hip hooray, you get two hip hip hooray.
And you know what? You're right.
Okay, now that's three. That's three hip hip hoorays actually, because you did one much earlier.
Oh yeah, yeah, the one in the previous slide, yeah.
Right. So that's three. So I mean, what else can you say? They're Super Bowl champions. Uh, they got it done, and I'm looking forward to getting on the Kansas City side of the coin, which we're
Get to
going to talk
them.
about here shortly.
Yep, we'll get. Well, don't worry, we're gonna get to you shortly, Kansas City. By the way, I like the green shirt. It's the theme of the champions or Eagle color, excuse me.
Oh yeah. Thanks. I forgot I was wearing it.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and before we get to the Chiefs, we got one more thing to touch on. We can read into the Eagles, and you're welcome, by the way. Two coaches or the coordinators, Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio. We gotta give a shout out to them because Kellen Moore now meeting the new head coach in the New Orleans Saints. He gets to stay in the Big Easy. Hopefully, he does some good things for the Saints because they've been going for a winner for a while. But what a way to go out, Super Bowl champion.
Hmm. And correct me if I'm wrong. That one of the Eagles' coordinators will be the New Orleans head coach, right?
Yep, this man right here.
Yep. So there you go.
Yep. And as for Vic Fangio, wasn't too long ago he was a head coach of the Broncos. Had some good success, couldn't quite get into the playoffs. But you know what? Came to the Eagles. Was known for being known for his legendary defenses, and sure enough, we saw that this year. With the Eagles leading the league in scoring defense, but there's something missing on that resume for Vic Fangio. He's been part in for over 38 seasons, but he didn't have that Super Bowl ring. But after Sunday, as he's holding up that paper that says champions, he is one.
Wow, I did not know that. I mean, for some people, it takes them 5 6 years to finally get one and finally get it right, or or even or even a little shorter than that. But for this guy to be in the league 30 plus years, that's and finally get one, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, 'cause I mean, he was what I mean, head coach of the Broncos not too long ago. I mean, he was on the Panthers in Argo staff in '95, part of that Colts team that was the best known for Jim Moore's playoff rant and the reason why Jim Moore was not brought back as a head coach at the end of that season. And the closest he got to a championship was ironically enough in the same building with the Niners in 2012, but came up 3 points short. And then Woods goes to Miami. I mean, has a great year success with them, but the players didn't buy into his scheme. He worked them too hard, and he said, "You know what? Don't want think I'm too hard. Bring in someone else. I'll go elsewhere. Where they'll appreciate me. Well, they appreciate you in Philadelphia, and look where the hard work got you. The Super Bowl ring, Vic Fangio. So, Kellen Moore, way to go out as a champion. Vic, long time coming. And Krusty Krab, HQ once again.
Hmm. So congrats to those two. Um, like I said, dominating performance, 18-point win. Did not see that coming. I mean, Amir, what else can you what more can you ask of you know building to that moment and not let it slip away, right?
Definitely, and I know Eagle fans and everyone across the country to help them get to a big lead. They said, brought up throughout the broadcast that Patrick Mahomes has trailed in every Super Bowl he's played in, including the one 2 years ago. And so Eagles said yourself, we can't let our foot off the gas, and they certainly did not do that. Or that came out didn't come
Exactly.
out right, but get the idea, folks.
Yep. Yep. I get you. And you're absolutely right when it comes to Patrick Mahomes. Trailing in every Super Bowl game that he's played in. So, excuse me. But I mean, congrats to those two. And yeah, I'm can't be any happier than that.
Definitely. So you're probably wondering, where are the Chiefs at? We even talked about them. They played in the game on Sunday. Of course, we gave away the result, but what do we got to say on them? Well, glad you asked, folks. Here they are. I think the picture sums it up.
Yep. As of 2 weeks ago, I picked the Kansas City Chiefs to win 28-25 if my memory suits me correctly. But and just to lose by 18 points. And perhaps this is just my opinion. My opinion, folks. I kept saying this all week. My friends and family. I thought that the Chiefs finally got exposed.
Well, you'd be right because they've been playing a lot of close games throughout the season, and everyone said it's going to come back. That's going to catch up to them eventually. Granted, this game was anything but yeah, Sunday, this was not the day to have an off day. And for the Chiefs, well, they had an off day at the worst possible time. Because, well, as Billy Madison once said,
Yep, you had 4 quarters to figure it out, and let's just say it took them 3.5 quarters to finally reach the end zone for a touchdown.
yeah, they finally reached the end zone late in the third quarter, but by then it was well in the Eagles' favor, and there was no Mahomes magic for the Chiefs in Crescent City because unfortunately Mahomes threw 2 picks and also lost a fumble and was sacked 6 times, which was very rare missing a Super Bowl played in Tampa at the end of the 2020 season when the Bucs defense routed Mahomes and the high-powered Chiefs offense. Which, yeah, I said that correctly. Once upon a time, this Chiefs offense could score without breaking a sweat. That was not the case that night in Tampa, and same held true in New Orleans this past Sunday.
Yep, and like I did for the Eagles results, I'm gonna read um, their regular season results and see if you notice any pattern here, folks, and of course you, Amir. So here we
Mm-hmm,
go.
mm-hmm,
So week one, they beat Baltimore 27-20. Week
mm-hmm,
two, they won 26-25. Week three, they won against Atlanta 22-17. Week four, they beat Los Angeles 17-10. Week five, they beat New Orleans 26-13. Then it was a bye week, week six. Week seven, they went 28-18 against San Francisco. Week week eight, they beat Los Angeles 27-20. Page two, they won against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 37-24 in overtime.
mm-hmm.
Week 10, they they beat Denver 16-14. They lost against Buffalo 30-21. Then they won against Carolina 30-27. Then Las Vegas 19-17. Los Angeles again week 14 19-17. Then Cleveland 21-7. Then Houston 27-19. Week 17 again against Pittsburgh 29-10. And then the season finale 38 they lost 38-0 in Denver. fast forward to the playoff matchup. They won against Houston 23-14. Then they beat Buffalo 32-29. And they lost 40-22 against Photo. So, I mean, the patterns speak for themselves, right?
Right, because I know when I've heard they won a lot of close games, and they got a lot of lucky breaks because there was all that conspiracy that, oh, they're getting help from the refs. Well, okay, well, refs didn't help them out this one, come to rescue on back on this past Sunday, and yeah, this game was. I only think they won part of only like two games where they won game handily against at Cleveland and at Pittsburgh. And the game against Denver in the finale didn't really mean anything because they had locked up home field advantage. But having said all that, I know the early part of the season, Pat Mahomes was not playing well, like the regular Pat Mahomes being accustomed to, because he had at one point more interceptions than touchdowns, and even Kelsey was. There's talks of him retiring because he was had like single digits or didn't have a touchdown at the end of September and had like 10 receptions and only scored three touchdowns the entire season. Still had over 800 yards at the end of the day. And it was all said and done. And then, oh, yeah, that proposal to Taylor Swift, who, yeah, in case you didn't notice, he was at the game and they showed her a few times. Yeah, that didn't happen.
Yeah. Going back to your first point, I mean, they won so many games close, very closely. And with that, I mean, what else can you say? They lost when it actually mattered, and it's uh it's a slippery slope because you
Hold
won all
on. Sorry.
yeah you won all those games, and it's like okay, like when is this team gonna finally you know put all together wire to wire wins, kind of like in, let's just say, New Orleans or Cleveland, just a few examples that they won, 5 points or more.
Yeah, definitely. Granted, they managed those games perfectly. They had the experience in doing it, but over time, those close games, they come sooner or later, the ball doesn't bounce your way, which you saw in their first match against the Bills, where it was a close game throughout, but those are able to pull away late. And in this game, it was no contest.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that the refs help the Chiefs at all. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, can they can they put it all together? You know, with not just in the fourth quarter, but in the entire game in general. Because look at what Philadelphia did all year. They, well, they blew teams out. They had close finishes themselves, but it just seems like on paper they were the better team going into the Super Bowl match.
Yeah, and I heard that all week too. The Eagles are the better team on paper, and I said, yeah, the record and the results speak for themselves. Even then, and having said all that, even we won some games that were close that left people like suspicious. Like say against the Panthers, they thought they would win by at least two touchdowns, and it was a close game, but that didn't prove that proving consequence was and end of the season because look where they are. As for I can't see getting back to the refs. I mean, of course, I'm not. I mean, when I mentioned earlier, I know the refs. They played a factor in most of their games, but but the biggest worry for everyone was like close game. It's Chiefs in Super Bowl. Of course, 2 years ago when these two same teams met, they had came down to a questionable interference call that decided or played a factor in the final score of that game. And we thought if this game's close, it could come down to that. Thankfully, it didn't. And then, in long story short, a lot of things that worked in Chiefs' favor that Super Bowl and all season long, well, work out in their favor this past Sunday in New Orleans.
Right. And going back to an earlier point, I wanna make perfectly clear that, in my humble opinion, that there was a missed call in the Buffalo game that should have gone the Buffalo's way, and the refs did not. So a little help from the refs, sure, but for all the games, I would say no.
Oh yeah. There was a few times like in the Buffalo game, some Bengals fans were upset about a call and against when they faced Chiefs in week 2. Even the Ravens fans were up in arms with the Isaiah Likely touchdown. I saw the replay. He did not get a second foot in, so they got that one right. But yeah, you started in also comparison with the Patriots during their dominant run. It's just yeah, it's not like I said before. I mean, yeah, the refs are not going to get every call right, but are they conspiring to rule certain things for certain teams? I don't know that. I don't think that's the case, and thankfully that they didn't have a moment where they were ruled in favor of a team this past Sunday, which made the game enjoyable because when the refs make these questionable calls, it doesn't make the game fun because they make all these rule changes and that doesn't make it better, but it makes it worse.
Exactly, but that's what I noticed too while watching the Super Bowl this past Sunday is that is that the players themselves were able to figure it out besides the referees. They were able to figure it out. There wasn't much of a controversial call, except the only time was the face mask in the first quarter, which could have gone either way because the guy, I think it was the chief guy, was able to handle on his helmet.
I think I know which play you're talking about. I think it was the
I think it was
the hands to the
AJ.
face penalty they called on the Eagles. But I know, and then there's another play with the AJ Brown reception that was called back, and even Tom Brady thought that they shouldn't have thrown a flag on that one. But other than that, the other calls they made, you said, yep, they got it right. But yeah, it's I haven't said all that getting back to the Chiefs. Just yeah, the defense that was again like the Eagles one of the best all year. I mean, they did one good thing right. They held Saquon Barkley in check, but they couldn't hold Jalen Hurts in check.
Yeah, and going back to Patrick Mahomes actually, because he was only he, they were only able to blitz him one time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at one time, and and they got to him. Because all the other times they got to him, they didn't call blitz. It was like a 4-6 man rush.
Yep, and they're able to get their defenders downfield because Patrick Mahomes has that arm, and on two of those touchdowns, Patrick Mahomes was able to throw it down the field to Worthy like it was no problem.
Yeah, and by the time they did connect with Wardy, who got 8 catch, buck 57, and 2 touchdowns, the game was well in favor of the Eagles. And I should also point out that the Chiefs, after their loss to the Bills, didn't have a turnover the rest of the regular season in all the playoffs, and then they had 3 in the Super Bowl. And when you turn the ball over 3 times in the big game, you don't. Odds are you're not going to win.
Yep, and Patrick Mahomes being sacked on two separate drives too, like I said earlier, and being sacked five or more times.
Yeah, 6 overall, but yeah, it was he's saying so why couldn't the rest of the AFC do this? And but I know Vic Fangio studied some film footage from early in the season and Super Bowl against Tampa and said this is we're going to beat this guy. We apply pressure, and sure enough, they did because they sacked him 6 times, forced tripped him one other time, and picked him off twice.
Yep. So good zone coverage, good coverage downfield as well. And you know, only got a blitz him one time, like I said a few minutes ago. So, I mean, if you're the Chiefs, I wouldn't be I wouldn't be too worried, but sure it's disappointing. But you know, I think it's maybe time to maybe move puzzle pieces around. Probably build once again because it's been what 3 or 4 years now since we've had pretty much the same on paper.
Yeah, maybe you're a Chiefs fan. I will say this was a missed opportunity. 'Cause, there was all the talk of the three-peat going back to when they won the big game last year in Vegas, and I know a lot of us did not want that to come to fruition, and nearly did when they reached the big game. So it's never happened. Well, the last time it happened in the NFL was the Packers, and they did it, won three championships because the first one was the last championship for that they introduced the Super Bowl, and in the last three that I'm aware of. I mean, there's been in the major pro sports with the Bulls in the late '90s and Michael Jordan. And, I mean, hard to do that. Which is basically what I'm saying.
And it was actually the LA Lakers. I think 2000 and 2002 with Kobe.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. They did do a three-peat. That's right. Yeah, I don't follow the
Talk
NBA
about a
that much.
dynasty there. Yep.
Yeah, go ahead.
Talk about a dynasty there for sure. So I mean, it's kind of odd because uh, because in the NFL, NBA, and NASCAR as well. The last person to win 3 in a row was Jimmy Johnson from '06 to or 5 straight actually from '06 to '10. Actually, before because if you want to talk about you know three peats or even five peats, because Jimmy Johnson was the last athlete to do that in a race car as well. Uh, Come to my knowledge, but when it comes to NBA versus NFL, we go to Kobe and Shaq, and then I usually go to Michael and Scotty and the Bulls.
Definitely. I know the Chiefs' legacy is going to take a hit from this because they again lost two Super Bowls during their dynasty run. But like after their loss to Tampa Bay, they will have to like shuffle the pieces around. Rework their offense, and their offense again. Last two seasons has been the one that we were accustomed to seeing early on in Pat Mahomes' career. And they need to get their running game need to be improved there because Kareem Hunt's getting up there in age, and Chiefs' running game was basically non-existent in this game. Pat Mahomes was their leading rusher, and also one more thing, they didn't cross midfield till late in the third quarter too. Getting after their offense, it's just oh no, Kelsey's going to be there. He's going to retire on his terms, not on media and the fans' terms. And I think the relationship between Taylor Swift, until further notice, still intact. Chris Jones, who had that reaction, says it all. He's going to be back. Trent McDuffie, he'll be back, and of course Andrew, he's going to be back. I know that locker room. He had told the guys, saying himself, "Men, remember this. Make this motivation. It should stick with you for until the next season and the next time we get here, somewhere around those words. Because, when you get to these big games, when you win it, best feeling in the world. When you lose, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah, and 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 remember this too. Patrick Mahomes is 29 years old. Has three Super Bowl rings already. I mean, he's got a long career left ahead of him.
Oh, yeah, and he's accomplished a lot in that young career, as they showed on the graphic during the game. It's just like, man, you're saying to yourself, he's done a lot, that he's done so much. It's like they also want to see others get their chance, but we'll save them for another time and place. And even with Travis Kelce, Chris Jones, and Andy Reid himself, I mean, I brought up Big Fangio earlier in this episode, but I mean, look at Andy Reid. He was in the NFL for a long time. Of course, won Super Bowl in this building as a Packers offensive coordinator of the Packers in '96. But look at the trial and error he went through early in his career with, oddly enough, the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, got them to 5 NFC Championship games, only came out winner in one, got to the Super Bowl, came up short, and took them 15 years to get back to another one, and finally won it. And just so when it comes to championships, yeah, we want to see all these guys get there and win it. Obviously, because it feel good for them and for them, let's say, stick it to their doubters and their critics, but takes time and go through a lot of adversity and hard times. And I mean, Nick Sirianni knows thing or two about that, and Andy Reid, the Chiefs, the Eagles, and just about anyone who's been in a championship game, where you've been on the winning end or the losing end. I mean, take the Tar Heels. We just 8 years ago, well, 8 years out, well, a few years back, but under Roy Williams, losing it one year, winning it the next.
Yep, that's a good example. And what Amir is trying to refer to is was spinning spot versus UNC 2016 at the buzzer. And, when I saw that happen live, I thought we had it. The next thing we knew, going down the court, putting up a shot from like 35 feet away, and it goes in. It could it could end like a snap of a finger. Another example when it comes to the NFL, I know it's not a Super Bowl example, but the Vikings and Saints game not too long ago with Stephon Diggs making like game-winning touchdown.
Yeah, and it's funny we bring up the Saints. They know a thing or two about being the wrong end of referee's call. I mean, we're not going to go too far in detail about that game. But yeah, the Saints, they went through a lot of heartbreak and triumph with Drew Brees and Sean Payton. Only got one Super Bowl as a result of it. But yeah, good example of that. I mean, Stephon Diggs, having that big moment in some with the Vikings. And then next week, they got curtsed on by the Eagles, which denied them a chance to play a Super Bowl in their home stadium. But that's that's the thing about sports. The triumphs and the hard times. And Super Bowl is an example of that. Like I said, with Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts, where they had to come from, and the whole Eagles in general. Being the big game just 2 seasons ago, coming 3 points short. Next season, they got a great start, and then they collapse, and everyone's questioning, calling for Nick Sirianni's job. Is he working out with Jalen Hurts? And then early on in the season, it didn't look pretty, and then at season's end, look where they are. Let's go back a few slides. They're holding up on the trophy.
Yep. I mean, he's the one hoisting up the Lombardi Trophy with, Commissioner Roger Goodell and Jalen Hurts. And I mean, what more can you say? Because I definitely agree on that on those terms.
It's as I see here, redemption. And both teams have had that. I will say. I mean, again, Chiefs, when they beat them, that was redemption for them after losing the Super Bowl just 2 seasons prior to Tampa Bay.
Yeah. So if you think about it, like you said, Tampa Bay game was a blowout, and the Eagles came out short 2 seasons ago, and now it's the Eagles' turn. So if you think about it, despite having the same teams or sort of similar team make it back, it's still a cool storyline.
Oh, definitely. And getting back to the Chiefs, I mean, like I said, I mean, again, the offense wasn't playing like wasn't lighting the world on fire, but when push came to shove, they always deliver in the clutch. And the defense, I mean, heck, gotta say, it was championship caliber all season long. And then, and granted, it wasn't the case on this past Sunday. And one more thing to wrap things up. I know Chiefs fans, and as Pat Summerall once said, there will be no three-peat, and you blew it. And yeah, it's going to be a long off season, but you just got to learn from it.
Yeah. So, you know, that's just, going back to my point, why the Chiefs got exposed. They weren't able to put a full game together, but accepting crunch time, in my opinion, for this season. Still a great team, but I, going back to our preseason weekly picks here, I have them making it all the way back. I was right, and when they came to the NFC, you had no idea because it was a dogfight every single week.
Yeah, because I had Dallas winning the division. Yeah, I knew the Eagles were going to be in it, but I just honestly didn't see this coming. And we saw what happened to Dallas. Yeah, by the way, Cowboy Scooter, I saw that episode. Oh man, it was. Oh man, it's going to be interesting seeing those NFC East meetings for the 2025 season. As for Eagle Scooter, you've earned it, man. Enjoy it. You're going to have a lot of fun this coming season because they made a bet and well, they cashed in.
Most definitely, and when it came to the division winners, uh, so let's just read these out real quick because it would be able to find the Google Doc. So on the NFC South side, we both had Tampa Bay, and that's right.
Yep.
And the AFC South was the Colts for you, Amir, and the Texans for me. So with that, the Texans got it done, right?
Yep, they did. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I was right. So Dallas, NFC East, for you, and for me, the Eagles for the NFC East. So I got that right.
Okay, yeah, all right.
Um, so the AFC East, we both had Buffalo. Was that
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, yep, they got that. They clinched it week 12, so yep, that's correct.
So NFC North, the Lions, they NFC North Lions. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. So Ravens, NFC, AFC North, you got that right, and I was way off on Cleveland. They only won 3 games.
Yeah, yeah, I got the Ravens right. Cleveland, it was yeah, it's it's one of those bury the tape moments for them.
Yeah, I mean, with Cleveland, they're basically stuck. They're stuck in a rut. With Deshaun Watson contract, Miles Garrett. Lo and behold, we found out maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks ago that he might be on leaving term.
Yeah, he's looking to join a contender. 'Cause, excuse me. I know he made 2 playoff trips with the Browns, but I know the NFL, it's in sports, it's all about championships, and he's looking for one. And I don't think it's going to happen in Cleveland, but he has a chance to join the contender this offseason. Sorry about this, folks.
But um,
Excuse me.
go, going back to our predictions here, we both said the 49ers, and we both got that wrong. So 49ers, because I picked them to most likely make it on the NFC side of the division.
Yeah, that of all the disappointments this year was the 49ers, making the Super Bowl a year ago, and then fortunately Chris McCaffrey missing most of the season, and then the defense didn't regress. The offense unfortunately couldn't keep up at the end, and Yeah, it was led to a 6-11 season. And as for the winner of the NFC West, it was the LA Rams, who got to a slow start and then also had a but rallied towards the end of the year and then won a playoff game away from home because of the wildfires and Sean McVay was in the same boat with Nick Sirianni, with this everyone thought it would be his time to hang it up, but he's here to stay, folks. And like I said, he's a great coach. And coaches are going to make mistakes, and it don't make sense. But end of the day, a win's a win. And last I checked, McVay, like Sirianni, has a Super Bowl championship, and in redemption fashion too, I might add.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's another good example. But with that, um, or we have one more actually. So let me go back. So the AFC West and most last but not least, we both had Kansas City. That was right.
Yes, yeah. I know the Chargers hired Jim Harbaugh. They were going to get. I thought they were going to get the Chiefs a run for the money. I wasn't quite sold on Denver, but they surprised me this year. And the Raiders, I was like, we didn't even bother with them. We saw how their season turned out, but I know they're defending champions and whatnot. But I played it safe and said, yeah, the Chiefs will win the AFC West, and sure enough, they did.
Mm-hmm. And with that, that was our, division predictions in the year. Now, I know we're going a little bit out of order, but um, I mean, for you, Amir, you went undefeated and one of the weekly picks that segment this year.
Yes, I did. That was I believe that was week 6, and if I pull up the slide here, yeah, I went undefeated one week, 13-0. Yeah, the lucky 13 was on my side that day or that week, and yeah, that was one of the great moments on when we did this. Getting all the picks correct. And I think if I can show that now.
But as Amir brings that up, I'm curious, Amir. I don't know if you know the stat line when it comes to this. I wonder what would be our grand total of wins and losses throughout the entire NFL season. Because I was thinking about that the last few days. If you combine all of them.
Well, and that's a good thing. But I do know for the playoffs, I went 10-4. You went 10-3. I won 10. You won 9 as a result of this past Sunday. So yeah, I will definitely tally those up and I'll post it in at a later time and place. But yeah, but as for you actually got a score right, which ironically enough involved the Chiefs.
Yeah, that's right. A couple weeks ago, I think it was the Bills game. I got right. I think
The Texans game.
Texans. Okay, it was the Bills or the Texans if my memory suits me. Uh, yeah, I was in one of those two games. I know that for a fact, and I may have not gone undefeated, but I got the score right nonetheless. And when it comes to the playoffs, you having 10 and me having 9, they're pretty close tally.
Oh yeah, definitely the Super Bowl pick I had, the Lions and Bills, that didn't happen. But I finally get this stuff pulled up here, folks. So internet, or here we go. Come on, load, people. Internet, like you gotta love the internet, right? It just wants to run slow when you want it to work fast. But anyway, here it is, right here. Here it is. So I'm gonna show that on the screen right here.
But as Amir continues to pull that up, it's
Here we go.
there it is. Slowly but surely. Yep, there it is. So score right against Houston. So it finally happened. So here it is. In case you guys missed
Oh
it.
yeah. And then as for the undefeated part, here we go. Well, it's fortunate, no, excuse me, but yep, did that back in week 6 when the Bills beat the Jets. Got all 14 picks right, and also we got the record predictions right too. It came to picks. We only did that twice. When I went 12-4 on 2 occasions.
Yep. And yep. So I, if my memory suits me correctly, because we've been doing this for eight years now. We're seven over the phone, 8 years on for one
YouTube.
year on YouTube. I think this is probably the best we've ever done.
I would agree, and because yeah, cause, this is the first time one of us got 1 week where you got every team right, and twice we got the records correct, and in your case, you got to score right.
So yeah, to my knowledge, over the phone, I can't recall, and so it's hard to keep track on what we said over the phone prediction wise. So it's good to have this sort of platform to keep our back straight and our record straight.
Definitely, and it's yeah, it's this is what I love about the NFL. With during predictions, put you and now in the audience, and then in recapping a week later, see where we're right, see where we're wrong, and also watching the games every Sunday to see you say yourself, I might hits coming to fruition or might come to fruition, and then realize I gotta wait till next week.
Yeah, man. Just to wrap this up, we had so many surprises, and with Washington making it, Baltimore getting Derrick Henry, uh, Kansas City making it back for the third year in a row, or you know, and coming up, way short, which is totally unsurprising. Panthers and Bryce Young making it to 5 wins, and perhaps almost making it to the wild card in Bryce Young's second year. Dallas, Dallas possibly making it back, and they didn't. So just a few examples. Cleveland on my end, you winning the division, and turns out they didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I will say the Jets, they were a big disappointment this year. I thought they would make it to the playoffs, but that didn't happen. His old coach and GM got fired during the season, and Aaron Rodgers, he will not be wearing the jet green this season. And as for Dallas, they were all in, and oh boy, this was one season they want to get out of their mouth quickly and
Very quickly
everything
indeed.
quickly. Look who made the Super Bowl instead. The rivals.
Yeah. Um, Going back to Aaron Rodgers, you're right. That's a good point. We don't know. We still don't know what he's going to do. 2025.
More like, what team's going to sign him? I know put up good big numbers, but there's been questions about his character the last few seasons. Even named back to his last few seasons in Green Bay.
I would say probably his last season in Green Bay, his attitude started to change a lot, and how he handled the media, the press, and what have you. It's gonna be interesting, you know. If he can't find anybody to sign, then perhaps maybe it's time to hang up the old helmet and cleats.
Possibly. I mean, we'll see who's going to take a chance on him.
Yeah. So with that, what a what a crazy and unexpected weekly pick we find.
I would agree, but as by now, Eagles Super Bowl 59 champions. Congrats to them, especially the Knicks Sirianni and Jalen Hurts. Chiefs. Give me a long off season, but we'll see how they respond come 2025. As for the other 30 teams, I mean, well, maybe next year at this time, maybe you guys hosting that Lombardi Trophy. Who knows?
Who knows is indeed. And I think the teams to watch out for, for a Super Bowl run would be the Bills, the Chiefs, the Ravens, and maybe perhaps Washington is the four teams to look out for right now, and Detroit. So that's five.
Yeah, yeah. In Washington, you got found your quarterback in Jaden Daniels, manage him properly. On like with RG3, we saw that went south. But yeah, you got something with Jaden Daniels there. For me, for Super Bowl, I mean the Lions. I mean it's gonna be tough. You lost both your coordinators to got head coaching jobs, but you still have Jared Goff and Dan Campbell. I mean, these guys, and also have bring Aiden Hutchinson back will do wonders for the defense because they went through a lot of injuries towards the end of the season and why they got bounced early in the playoffs. Bills, Ravens, I know their fans are hoping next year we be one of them in the Super Bowl, and I'm with them there. Of course, can't sleep on the Chiefs and the Eagles. They're, I mean, obviously you can't sleep on them because it's won the big game. And then as for that, I mean, I had a surprise team for to make the playoffs. Not named the two teams I root for. Wait, I'd say the Bengals. I mean they again as long as they can get off to a slow start, they can give the Bills, Chiefs, and Ravens a run for their money.
I would have to agree. And during my top five picks, did I have the Eagles in there?
You did not.
Oh, okay, interesting. So another honorable mention would definitely be the Eagles, sure, because they I would make tweaks here and there, but not much. But if you're Kansas City, I would definitely restructure their team in general because guys are definitely going to get older with age, and that, they've had the same team for the last 3-4 seasons. So for me, for the teams that I've not named quite yet, I would say okay. Um, I would say maybe Atlanta. If I had to pick a team that did not.
I would agree with that because they were leading the NFC South, going midway through November, and then unfortunately blew it. I mean, look at the roster. I mean, they got Drake London, Kyle Pitts, B. John Robinson, um, quarterback. His name is escaping for some
Kirk
weird
Cousins.
reason. Not well. I wouldn't think of Kirk Cousins.
Oh, what's his name? Hang on. I'm gonna do an on-air production meeting with myself. So give me a second. So,
Oh, Michael
uh,
Penix. That's it.
Michael Penix. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, it was right there. I just can't say it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Penix.
I would say. Yeah, I would say Atlanta would probably be in the conversation as a wild card, perhaps. And we don't know what Kirk Cousins is going to be like either.
Or if he's going to be on the roster, because I do know he was signed to a 1 year deal and then his performance tailed off in the second half of the year, which is why he got benched. So his status is not looking good for right now in Atlanta.
Right. So that's my surprise team for sure to make it to the playoffs, not to the Super Bowl, but to the playoffs.
And also, I mean, the Bears, I mean, I know it's going to be he got a bit of an up. They're not have Ben Johnson, but if they can overcome some in-game um, mistakes, ones that cost them big time last year or this past season. Now, I wouldn't sleep on them because they played in a lot of tight games, but again, a lot of in-game management cost them big time. The biggest one being Washington and in Detroit because the Washington game sent them on that 10, 11 game losing streak, excuse me, and then the Detroit game cost Eberflus his job. And I think, and also getting Caleb Williams sticking with a coach for one season, that's going to help his development and confidence. When you're changing coaches and coordinators for one young QB, we saw here in Charlotte, Bryce Young, it has an impact. And you want to see him succeed, but how can you succeed if there's no consistency? I mean, look at the two teams in the Super Bowl. I mean, consistency at the coordinator and head coaching position.
Yep. So that's a good point. Um, I mean, I thought about Carolina putting it on that list, but I would say not quite yet. I would say if if they if they want to make it back, I would say definitely wild card. But I just think with Atlanta right now, they're more ready. They got more weapons. They, Michael Penix knows the system. Bryce Young, he's getting better, but we, they need to keep going.
Panthers offense, I know, looks playoff ready. It's the defense that needs a lot of work in the offseason. Same with the Colts because they give up a lot of yards. And Panthers gave up the most points in the NFL, but not in the season, but or overall last season, but overall in NFL history. Over
Right.
534
So,
points. I mean, you're not going
yep,
to win games with getting up those numbers.
yep. That's why I put Atlanta over Carolina right now because we don't know what that defense is going to be like yet. That being Carolina. So, if, this is what 2 months away from the NFL draft. And this is our way early, too early uh, preseason, season predictions here.
Well, I mean, they're already doing predictions already, so what the heck? We might as well get them out the way now. It's not too early to predict, and having said all that, for teams I don't think will make the playoffs next year, I say Pittsburgh will miss out, and Green Bay. It's just especially if the Steelers can't figure out at the quarterback position.
Yeah. With the AFC North, like the AFC North, like you said, with the or AFC, yeah, AFC. Cleveland, I think Cleveland misses out, but we don't know. We just have no idea what it's going to be like.
Yeah, especially with Miles Garrett leaves, which I wouldn't be surprised if he did. And this their offense. I mean, outside Nick Chubb and Jerry Judy, it's just who's going to be the quarterback going into training camp.
Well, it's going to be the Deshaun Watson because they're pretty much stuck with him for the next four years of his contract because he signed a a, a gigantic. I'm going to say 150 million, 200 million dollar deal.
Yeah, it was, and we don't know how he's going to be, what he's going to look like. He's coming off the Achilles injury too. So
Hmm. There's that. So, uh, yeah, I I picked gold, before the season began, and after I saw him, I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to say, you know what, Cleveland doesn't make it. So, um, there's that prediction.
you there. And then I'm not going to make my super prediction. Yeah, that's for another time and place. But I do know the Eagles. As long as they, I mean, I think the only thing that's going to prevent them from like getting back there is injuries and maybe some in-game management. And if say Washington surpasses them, I don't think Giants. I don't see them. I just then I don't think they're going to be in the mix. Dallas might be, but it's just I just got to see something. They got a new head coach. Prescott's coming back from an injury, and the running game, which only scored 6 touchdowns all season, that's got to improve. So they have something in Rico Dowdle, so I would be shocked if he's not the number one running back going into their going opening day in 2025.
Yep. No, Ezekiel Elliott either.
Yeah, and he was definitely one of the bigger disappointments because they brought him back, and I think once Terrence returned in November, I last thing I heard of him, he was being late for meetings and then healthy scratch.
Mhm. So, um, trying to think of anything else to say. So, Mir, do you have anything else? Or
Yeah, AFC West. I mean, the Chiefs are going to be. They're not going anywhere. They're going to be fine. Chargers, I think they're going to keep them be competitive. Broncos, they got some Bo Nix. Raiders, they're going to make the division interesting. Maybe not enough for a playoff season, but they'll make things interesting in that division.
yeah, I just think it's going to be more closer here. On the AFC West side, it's more competitive. The Chargers getting better. The Broncos being a huge surprise with Bo Nix, their rookie quarterback, and the Raiders, building their coaching staff as well. So I like the AFC West. So, but that's what I have to say about that.
Yeah, and then for the AFC East, Bills, it's hopefully they'll knock that door down. Jets, I would just say they're going to go through growing pains under Aaron Glenn. The Dolphins, hmm,
Yeah, Dolphins are a lot of question mark, and so is New England. Because New England has Drake May, right? And we don't know what the offense is going to look like, the defense.
I will say they're going to be more. They're going to be more disciplined under Mike Vrabel because he's done it before with the Titans. So I'm feeling honestly better about the Patriots than I am the Dolphins. That just Tyreek Hill, the writing's on the wall. He wants out, and I think when the league year opens up in a few weeks, he's no longer going to be a Dolphin. And then to his health, I know his game's going to be a big benchmark for that team. He just said they can give the Bills run for the money, but it just feels like they just don't know if they're going to make a big push for in if they get to the playoffs.
Right. So, I mean, that's a good point with New England because you know they have a coach who has played in New England as a player. So there's that. Not gonna give not gonna give any team yet of how or when are they're gonna win their respective divisions yet, or how many wins they're gonna get. But we'll just go on through the teams one by one.
Yeah, subject to that, Baltimore, I know they're going to be the favorites to win the AFC North. So the Bengals are going to, I think, we're going to run for the money. How about the Steelers? I think they're going to step back. Cleveland, again, I just don't think they're ready yet. And for the AFC South, I mean, Tennessee, yeah, I think they're still going to go through growing pains with Callahan and Levis, and who's going to be a make or break season for him. And same with Richard in Indianapolis. If it doesn't pan out in the third year, I mean, the Colts are going to go shopping for a quarterback once again. And figure for Shane Steichen, it's just been almost made his first year, still in the hunt to the last penultimate week of the season when they made the Giants look like world beaters. And I just think their defense has let them down throughout the season because they just couldn't get off the field. And look, basically no complimentary football in Indianapolis. You haven't seen in a long time. Which they can do that. They can make the playoffs. Without it, it's going to be an area where they'll be able to watch it from their homes. And Jacksonville, I mean, new head coach. I mean, anything can happen. I don't think it's going to be like party like 2022 there. It's just they'll make things interesting, but I'm not high on them. And then getting to the north, I mean, the Lions, I mean, they lost their coordinators, but I think they're still going to be the front runners in that division. Green Bay will take a step back. Minnesota is going to take a step back for sure. Chicago, like I said, they can fix some of those management decisions in game. They can make a run for it. And and for the West, I would say the Niners will be back. The Rams will again. I think it's going to be between the Niners and the Rams. unless the Cardinals can have a say in the matter, which I think they can. And even the Seahawks too is just the NFC West was very competitive towards, the records were kind of like mediocre for a while, but it was you didn't feel 100% sure who's going to win it come like mid-November. It wasn't until like maybe late December you said to yourself, "Yep, we got our winner here." So I'd say it's going to be a dogfight for that one once again.
Yeah, I mean Arizona is a team to watch out for too, where they can sneak in and a one good team to beat outside looking in. So, um, and other than that, I agree with everything else. And I think there was. Did we go over the NFC South?
Yeah, I'm supposed to touch on them. So Panthers got to fix the defense. They want to make a run. And even with the Atlanta as well. I know their pass rush was also part of the reason why they tailed off towards the end of the regular season. And if they can fix that, they can make a run. And again, Tampa Bay, they their offensive coordinator left for Jacksonville head coaching position, so we don't know if their offense is going to be clicking all cylinders. They got Evans. They don't show not so many signs of age, so I won't say that. Baker's looking good. Godwin's coming off an injury. The only thing that does concern me is the running game, because the running game wasn't like in wild. Well, it was showed signs of like yep, it's looking good, but it's not some it's not like what we're seeing like in Philadelphia or Baltimore, like Bucky Irving and Rashad White, and, and that's gonna be a battle for the number one position for them going into training camp. And then for the Saints, they got a new head coach, got a lot of talent on offense, but um, I don't. Again, it's going to be growing pains in the Big Easy in the first year under Kellen Moore. I mean, even Dallas went through their fair share with him. I mean, that's the Cowboys going was like to have as a coordinator. It wasn't rainbows and roses.
Yeah. So if like I said, I think Atlanta can get stuff done. I think it's going to be. I'm hoping that it's closer in the NFC South come next season. With the Buccaneers, Falcons, Panthers thing. But if I'm the Saints, I'll go down the list. There's the Saints. They're in rebuild mode. Panthers, work on the defense. Falcons, work on the offense a little bit more. And same with the Buccaneers as well. Because, Bakers look good. Their defense looks pretty solid. You know, so I would say Atlanta would probably make that jump because I think they're more ready in Carolina and New Orleans that are able to get in there. But we've seen crazier things, and I guess I could say is see what happens, right?
Yep, and I got to wait to September to see it, but we'll see what happens. But other than that, 2024 season is in the books. Eagles are the champions, and then that's like I said, the other 31 teams. Something to be motivated about. And maybe next year at this time, you'll be hosting the Lombardi Trophy. As we all say at the end of every episode, you know where to find us: Spotify, LIX, and Instagram. Obviously, give us a like, subscribe to the channel, helps us out a lot. And folks, it's been one heck of a season. Enjoyed it, and yeah, I'm looking forward to doing more of this next year.
Yep, most definitely, and um, you know, we'll see what happens. And looking forward to whatever's next. And that being said, this has been Nina Costain and Amir Daniel. Thank you for tuning in and enjoy some of the off season. We'll be back really soon. Stay tuned.
So then, take care, folks.
Take care.